for whatever reason my headphones don't work. But
Or you're just
I'm
gonna have to,
take them
you're
off.
gonna have to tune it down.
Let me know if you hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're good to go. I'm gonna take off the headphones. Gotta get my notes up. That way, I can sound somewhat coherent. Then delete all these recordings.
So have you been listening?
Yeah, I listened a little bit in the first one, and I listened periodically. I don't have time anymore to listen to anything. I now wake up. I have 2 kids. One's sleeping because we have 2 rooms upstairs, 2 rooms downstairs. So I gotta be quiet in the morning. And then on my way to work, I only have a 12-minute commute, and then I'm out there. I have no time for anything.
You mean your 12-minute commute's not long?
Honestly,
Listen to our
I don't
podcast?
listen to anything. I just get in my car on my way home and I just sit in silence.
So 12 minutes in, 12 minutes out. That's half of it.
You mean-
The next day, 12 minutes
That's
in,
not
12
even
minutes
half
out.
of it. We're about an hour going every time. All right, cool. We're gonna get started here. I'm gonna hit record. I'm gonna say my little spiel, introduce you, Will, and then we'll be good to go. All right, hello and welcome to Outside the Coach's Box. It is Friday, December 8th. I'm Nick, as always. My co-host is Big D. And today we are joined by a very special guest, Coach Will Wishart. Let's discuss game plan, Coach. First of all, for those of you who don't know, Coach Will is he coaches Shore Regional. He played collegiate ball at
Muhlenberg. And by collegiate meaning I was really good at getting water.
There we go.
I did that for David a couple times.
Yeah. So and also you've coached both boys and girls basketball, so that kind of fits the trend that we have here so far. I think both high school for you though, right?
Yep, both
Cool.
high school.
So yeah, say hi to the people if you want to talk more about yourself. Like you're one of my favorite people in the world,
Thanks.
so I'll end with that.
I'll be quick, short sweet, because I know we got an agenda to get to. Coaching here at Shore Regional for the last decade. Girls side, this is my 8th year. We've had some good, successful teams the past 2 years. And not to say that we haven't in the first 6 years, but really have been able to shine. And a lot of it's due to the kids that we've had and the players. I had very little to do with it. Sometimes it's the Jimmies and the Joes and the X's and O's, but
I haven't heard that.
yeah, right. But I'm really excited about this year, and I'm excited to do this. So thank you for having me.
Yeah.
No problem. No, so I know you have 2 kids now, father of 2. So congratulations to that little class there.
Thank you.
And you haven't gotten a chance to listen to the full menu of episodes that we have out there, but the reason why he chuckled is because I often reference, I said, a coach I know once told me it's about the Jimmies and Joes, sometimes not the X's and O's, so the fact that you hit it right there on your intro is right on brand.
I had to modify because we were talking about girls to the Jills and
Right,
Jills.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yep.
It's a good callback. But no, I'm excited to have you on. Obviously, coaching with you last year was a ton of fun. State champs, that's really exciting, and your second one, so
Yeah.
probably even more exciting that you're back to back. Chance to three-peat this year, which we'll ask you questions a little later on about the season and coming on. But one thing that I'd like doing that I think is unique for a podcast is a lot of people have guests on, which you're our first official guest. We've had
All
family
right,
members and
non-family.
everything.
Let's
so
go.
like,
All
you're our
right.
first official guest, non-family member. But we like incorporating, our guests into the show. So we're gonna incorporate it, Will, in a little bit into what we do daily, and then we're gonna get into a little new segment called Inside the Coach's Box. That's right. Outside the Coach's Box, we're gonna put you back in the coach's box to make some decisions.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm nervous.
Get ready for it. Then we're gonna ask you some questions on the upcoming season, because I know there's quite a big change in your locker room. Let's just say that this year with missing a certain player. We'll look and touch on it later. So we're gonna start off with, and again, I don't know if you've heard this segment yet, but Doghouse Penthouse.
Okay.
It's kind of like a little copy of Hot Seat Cool Throne.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna go with that. I don't know if you want to go first, the guest, then me, or if guest wants to dive into it.
No, I'm gonna leave it to you guys first. I'm the guest.
Okay.
All right, I'll go first then.
You go ahead.
Okay.
You rock it.
So I'm gonna start with my doghouse this week. It's Caleb Williams.
Okay.
Quarterback, USC. He's sitting out the bowl game. For a guy that supposedly might be coming back next year to sit out a bowl game, huge red flag to me. It used to be that these players don't get paid tons of money, but he's getting paid I think he's the highest paid NIL player, so he's getting paid tens of millions of dollars, and he's sitting out the bowl game with his guys that he's been playing all year long. I don't know if I was in the locker room, I'd be a little upset that our quote unquote star athlete, highest paying guy, decided I'm gonna sit out, but I might come back next year. So it kind of gives you a little heads up that he's not coming back probably either. And then my penthouse, and someone that you may be familiar with, may not be, Mike Evans. wide receiver, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has now had 10 straight seasons of 1,000 yards. No, I'm sorry, 7 seasons of 10 receptions and 1,000 yards. A lot of gaps on this podcast, so feel free to mess up.
A lot of
Yeah, a lot of gaps by me. But and what's more remarkable is that he's had 7 different quarterbacks while doing it. It's Tom Brady, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston, and then you get to the real studs like Mike Glennon, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh McCown, and Blaine Gabbert. He's also only behind Jerry Rice, who Jerry Rice has 14 such seasons. He has.
Isn't everybody behind Jerry Rice?
Yeah.
I heard he's
that's
pretty
right.
good. I heard he was good once.
He's all right. But yeah, that's we're gonna zoom through some of these so that way we can get to the main event here. So go ahead.
So I have a question for you, Will, based on the Caleb Williams one.
Okay.
What do you think about a star player like that sitting out of the college bowl game?
I just think that college sports has changed so drastically in the last 5 to 10 years that I'm actually not surprised. You know, I think these guys are so worried about their image, their likeness, their payday. I'm honestly not surprised. I wouldn't do that personally. I think you, like Nick hit it on the head, you've been with these guys since July, last spring, right? They had spring ball to now, and just to say, guys, I'm good, I'm peacing out. That's just not meant for me, but again, I think that's just society and what everyone's turned to.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm just curious what your take was.
I mean, how about you?
I feel the same way. Strap it on and compete.
Yeah.
You've been with these guys, the troops that you've gone to battle with, so to speak, and I feel it's a little shallow, a little self-centered, and I get because of the money aspect of it, which is a shame of where college
Well,
sports.
that used to
Yeah.
be the excuse, like money. Like that's why they're sitting out. And I used to be like, okay, like you're not gonna get hurt, although it's a violent sport, so you can get hurt no matter what. You can get hurt training like a lot of guys do, but
Yeah.
like I said, he's getting paid tens of millions of dollars now to sit out and do nothing right now.
Yeah, so they've ruined college sports basically.
Yeah, they have. So yeah, if you want to go.
Yeah, so my doghouse will be quick. I think we talked about it a little bit the last episode, but the College Football Playoff Committee is in the doghouse eternally now for selling out and selecting Alabama as the 4th team. Florida State should be in, and again, as an old coach, old player, let their fate be decided on the field, and it's that simple.
Your boy Aaron Rodgers said that they should be in over Texas, by the way.
Listen, Aaron and I went to the same high school many years apart. I like him as a quarterback. He's wrong on this one, all right?
He would get
Aaron,
punched
you
down.
have a problem, you can call me. Penthouse is Jake Browning, the now starting
Yeah.
quarterback for the Cincinnati
Great
Bengals. He led the team past the Jaguars with a stellar game, 32 of 37 for 354 yards, threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown. Maybe playing off the high of his Washington Huskies getting the number 2 in the college football playoff. So that could have helped him. But in addition to him, kudos to the coaching staff for adjusting the game plan around his skill sets, and it really paid off. Really paid off.
My turn?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, it's your turn. Go for it. Yeah.
So start with my doghouse first.
You can
right?
go whatever order you want.
You're the guest.
Get fun with it. Fun and frisky right now. Let's go.
I'm gonna go. My doghouse is gonna be. I'm actually gonna stay in football with Zach Wilson. I mean, I don't know if you guys. I'm
It's your
sure you guys-
doghouse, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he's been asked to play. It's your job. You get paid millions of dollars. If the story's true, play. Right? We were just talking about that with Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
If your coaches ask you to play, I don't care if you're gonna get hurt or potentially getting hurt or. You're a professional athlete. Go out there and play. Your team needs you. So I also don't like the Jets. So anytime I can pack it out with the Jets. And then my penthouse. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but I absolutely love the in-season
Yeah, I've been watching.
NBA tournament. I like the NBA as it is. I like go to college and NBA. I'll watch whatever. There's a round ball playing. I'm watching.
Yeah.
But it's brought a lot of intrigue and like I've watched almost every single game that's been on television that I've been able to. And like these guys are competing hard to win that, to get to Vegas or whatever. So I've enjoyed it. I love what they've done. I hope they continue it, and I hope they maybe even try to expand it a little bit more.
What's
So-
your feelings on the bad timeout call yesterday?
I was just gonna say that's a good segue into our next. We'll go right into the NBA talk. And talk NBA in-season tournament. Start with the
Listen,
Lakers Suns game.
There's going to be some bad coaching decisions. You know that. You know, at the end of the day, I can second guess every coach, but
This one was the referee.
Yeah, the referee.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
That's why you have review, right? I mean, that's.
Well, they came out with an explanation today
Mhm.
saying that the Austin Reeves, who was the player who was fumbling with the ball,
Mhm.
had the ball pinned in his left-handed leg,
Okay.
which justifies control. But again, I don't really know this rule. I mean, he's much older than both of us.
Mhm.
So when I say that, I'm talking about Big D. Big D is much older than Will and I. So
Nah, he's good.
But he said like basketball, it was always either the coach or the player with the ball that
Yeah.
called the timeout. This was LeBron calling the timeout. So
Well, isn't he the NBA?
he is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
that
I
is
mean,
true. Yeah,
come
King
on.
James is the NBA.
I believe Jerry West is still the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, he is the logo for now, right? They constantly
How
like
many
talk
kids
about-
actually know that? Who's the logo?
Well, I mean, if they listen to the podcast, they might.
That's true.
so.
That's true.
Which we have like a record 50 listeners, so you have a job. We always say our listeners have one job,
Spread it.
and that's
All right.
to promote. So, you know,
Cool.
I know you're a social media guy. Like, pump it out there, do your thing. We actually ran into John. It's funny while we were celebrating my cousin's.
At the block?
Yeah, the
I
block.
think,
Yeah,
he mentioned it.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I asked him if he was listening. He's like, he's been listening. I was like, there we go. That's all I need. I just need one person
The
to say.
guy's
So.
unemployed right now, so
Yeah.
he's waiting to start his new company, so he's got a lot of time in his hands.
And we don't pay, but if he wants to come on and talk, like, you
I
know,
think
we
he
can book
only
him some
lives like a
time.
mile away, so you're
There you
good.
go. So the next time we'll have him on with you. So again, getting back to the NBA and in-season tournament, you feeling okay today though? I
So
know.
anytime a team shoots 23 for 38 from three, you're gonna lose that, you know. And they were tough shots.
Yeah.
And the Bucks are good, man. They have put 5 guys on the court that can fill it, and then you have Giannis, who is
Yeah.
literally a freak. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody like that guy. I know Kevin Durant looks like him, but he's
He's not
just
as
different.
muscular,
He's
yeah.
just huge.
Well, I think the difference maker in there was Damian Lillard. He had a
Yeah.
14-point second quarter.
It
Like,
helps.
did that scare you as again, huge fan of the Knicks? I know that very much. You love the Knicks. They're in the East Conference. Obviously, the Nuggets won last year, but Damian Lillard with Giannis Antetokounmpo, like, if this is a preview for what the end of the season is going to look like, Damian Lillard took over in the second quarter, 14 points, put the Bucks up. I don't think they looked back. I think they
No, they were up 3 at halftime, and they just
Yeah.
came out and smoked us. in the
yeah,
second
they led the rest of the way. So, like, does that scare you? Like now we have no hope. Like, it's over.
Listen, you know from last year, you're one turned ankle or
Yeah.
one injury away in the playoffs from anything happening with the Heat. Honestly, I'm waiting till April. Just stay healthy till April, and then if you get hot, you're hot, and you can always make a run. So
I'm a little surprised to hear that you're not a Jet fan, being that you're a Knicks fan. And those
No,
are both.
it's Knicks. It's Nets and Jets. It's Mets, Nets, and Jets typically.
Yeah, but
although he is a
if
Mets
you
fan,
look
that's
at
the
the
better.
inequality of both organizations, I thought we would be right in line.
have you watched the Giants this year? We're in depth as it is. We've had one successful season.
I got when we get to football, I have a surprise for you. Speaking of the Giants, by the way.
By
so
the way,
get ready for it.
the ESPN announcer this morning was referring to last night's Bucks-Knicks game when it started to turn as Dame time.
Yeah,
which
well,
I thought-
that's the thing. That's
Yeah.
a celebration thing.
I
Game
thought that was
time.
pretty cool.
I just want to see him stay healthy. You know,
Yeah.
He hasn't been healthy. I know he wanted to be a potential Nick. I know he wanted to do the Heat, and a lot of Knicks fans wanted him. Anytime I have my point guard and have that many miles on him, I'm good. I'll stick with Jalen Brunson. I love that guy. I
Well,
love the Villanova guys.
That's it again. Another
Well
you're
coached.
you're natural
Very
at this.
well.
That's a great segue into the next point I want to talk about. Pelicans knocked off the Kings, so we're gonna get a LeBron James, Zion Williams matchup, which I'm sure the NBA is just salivating
Oh,
over. The report came out today that the Knicks are investigating or spending a lot of time at the looking for stars at the deadline and like what their market is. It's been rumored forever, like Zion's interest in becoming a Knick, Knicks' interest in Zion. Obviously, RJ Barrett, his Duke buddies there. Would you like Zion Williams? Like, you talk about point guards. He's not a point guard, but he does have a lot of mileage on those knees. Injuries, dieting, like whatever you want to say. And the diet options in New York aren't great. You get your dirty water dogs and whatnot. So
They are good.
Where do you? Is that someone you want to see? Like, I don't know the Pelicans that well.
I will see. I would take anybody that can win us an NBA. I would cut off my pinky for an NBA Finals championship.
That's a
We've
good-
been to the finals one time. I was in 8th grade. I had all the jerseys. I had a Chris Childs jersey, Marcus Camby jersey, Charlie Ward jersey.
Wow.
I'll take anybody at this point that can help us win. I like the nucleus we have. I think they built it a great job in building it the way they have the last few years. But I will take any superstar that can help us.
So the one jersey you didn't mention there during that era was John Starks. You not happy
He
with
was on the team that year. They
Okay.
traded him for Latrell.
Okay.
See,
That
that's
was
how
a-
young he is compared to you.
Well, no, he had that real bad playoff game
Oh,
against
my
the
God.
Houston Rockets. I think
3
it
for
was.
3 for 18. That was the OJ.
Yeah,
that was
he's the one that took the last 3 too.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
had no shame.
That wasn't just a playoff game. That was the final.
That's what I
So,
mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
By the way, can we get that on record that you literally chop off your pinky? Like,
I would.
sorry to your wife right now, but
I
like, you
would.
know, if we can we get that? Like, if the Knicks win a championship,
They are, if you're power ranking my favorite teams, they're my number one. I love those guys. We actually just switched, I know this is a moot point, but we switched over to YouTube TV recently and they
Yeah,
don't
nice.
have MSG on it. And it's kind of killing me. I'm watching it on my phone. I'm trying to see
get
it.
the MSG Plus app, right? That's what you gotta
Listen,
get.
I'm a teacher with 2 kids, and I'm poor. I can't
How much
afford
streaming
that.
can you
Yeah,
get?
how much more? I mean, we already have Netflix, Disney, all that stuff.
That's-
I don't get a chance to watch TV.
You know, it's basically cable what you're paying for now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do
I
the
know.
same thing. We we had a whole conversation when my cousin Ryan was on. You know, we talked about streaming. So we kind of opened up weirdly enough with like the streaming services and everything because I think I
Nuts.
plugged Sunday Ticket. But yeah, YouTube TV, Disney Plus, and like I have it, but like my whole family uses it.
Yeah.
Even like not my immediate family. So it is insane. Like
I gotta offer extra credit to a kid that gives me their MSG login.
you should. There you go.
How you can pass the year.
There you go. Just thought of something new right there. Yeah, before we get into which I think is one of the biggest events of the year and best matchups of the year. Any other NBA topics you want to cover? So just to put it in a wrap up, by the way, it's Pelicans, Lakers, and then you got Pacers with Halliburton, who just absolutely crushed the
He's awesome.
Celtics the other day against the Bucks in the semifinals. So that'll be interesting. What's the matchup you're looking forward to the most, and what do you think is the finals? Like, give us a prediction for the finals. Sorry, I know I asked you a question. I just threw stuff at you.
I think I would like to see LeBron versus Giannis. I think that I like watching. Listen, I'm not a LeBron lover, but the guy's impressive. What is
Yeah.
it, 38, 39, and he's still playing at a maybe not the top 5, top 10 in the NBA anymore, but he's still amazing. He's a freak athlete, and then you have Giannis and Dame. Like, I'm watching no matter what, but that's probably the matchup I want to see.
I believe he's the all-time leading scorer in the
No, he's
NBA.
not.
This
No.
guy, huge Korean guy growing up, so he was not happy. Which I will say, when I was a kid, I might sound like I have like a gambling problem. I don't, but like
He
that's
did
like
work
that's
for
what-
one of them. So
yeah.
maybe.
So, but like when I was a kid, I made a lot of lunch bets and stuff growing up, and one of them was that LeBron was going to be like the all-time leading scorer. And both him and my uncle, they crushed him. Like, no way, like, you know, Kareem's this, never gonna happen. But yeah, and he's still playing at a high level. I mean, 25 points a game basically is what he's averaging, which is insane for a 40-something-year-old now.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got kids that are going to be in the NBA
Yeah.
in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, Bronny James just got cleared the other day.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So-
I saw that, so I wonder when he's gonna start.
You know
but I
what?
hear the younger son's better.
LeBron will never
Yeah.
get that
Well, he's
Kareem
transferred.
has.
Bald? Oh no, he already is bald. Sorry.
6 MVPs.
Oh,
6.
well, he's got 4, right? I mean, he's probably not going to win any more at 40, but who knows? Who knows? Cool. So jumping over to college football now, and before we get to again what I think is the best game of the year, I want to go over Heisman finalists and what you guys thoughts on. I don't know how much college football you watch, but we got the finalists are LSU quarterback Jalen Daniels, Ohio State wide receiver Maserati Marvin Harrison, Oregon quarterback Bo Nix, and Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. So basically, it's a quarterback award, or Maserati Marv's going to pull out a miracle. So, any thoughts on that before I move over to?
I mean, I think one of the last episodes I said that the NCAA is trying to give it to Bo Nix. I think losing to Washington in that Pac-12 final might hurt him, because how do you give it to Bo Nix when Penix beats him and puts up equal numbers? So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning more towards Maserati Marv. I'd like to see a non-quarterback get recognized for.
Yeah, when was the last time that happened?
Devonta Smith.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought the
that-
same
that-
thing. Don't worry. A few podcasts ago, I was just like, yeah, wide receiver hasn't won in years. I looked it up literally after. I was like, oh, it was like 5 years ago. So my bad.
But he truly has been the class of NFL, the NCAA, and he's not had really any down moments. So
No, I mean, even against Michigan, he went over, I think, 150 yards. He got a touchdown. You know, I mean, it's not his fault. And again, I can't believe I'm about to say it, but, you know, Kyle McCord threw 2 picks and he transferred out, actually. Or he's in the portal, which is crazy to me that you're a starter for a premier college program and you're transferring out. Kudos to Arch Manning in that case, by the way, because he said that he's going to stay at Texas. For now, we'll see. But
Yeah.
all right, cool. Now I'm going to get to a game that I
Did you
know.
ask Will who he thought?
I did ask. I thought he answered. My bad. Sorry. Go ahead.
I
Will.
think I personally go by the award with like the best narrative, and I think that Penix Jr. kid has the best narrative.
Yeah.
Overcoming 2 ACLs or 1 ACL.
Good point.
You know, I think and the kid's a stud. I haven't watched much of him because they're on at a different time
Yeah.
than I'm usually asleep for. But and just watching some of the highlights and seeing what he overcame, I just think that's the best narrative. In my opinion.
That's a good point.
I heard 2 Kids does that for you, by the way, early bedtime.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I'm in bed. I'll be in bed in the next 2 hours. So.
Father of 2. Well, again, we appreciate you being on, especially for what we're about to get into. America's game, Army Navy. We all have somewhat a connection to the game. We'll say, my dad, obviously, Big D, went to Navy. That's why I root for him. Obviously, that's why you root for them. You're loosely a Navy guy. I mean, you feel free to explain how, but.
Yeah, my wife's father was in the Navy. I think he was in the Navy for about 10 years.
Nice.
Right out of high school, it was the best option for him, and big Navy supporter. I don't know if he's been to the game since I've been married to Brittany, but he'll be sitting in front of that television on Saturday watching that game. Where is the game?
It's in Boston
In
this
Boston,
year.
because I know they rotate. It's been in Philly in the past, right?
Yeah.
You guys went last year.
Last year, yeah.
And then
So-
are you guys
It used to
going?
be the contract was with Philadelphia,
Mm.
and then every 4th year they would go to an outside site, but they've loosened that up quite a bit, so it rotates a lot more.
Was it ever in Baltimore?
Yeah.
I would.
Baltimore's in
love to go down.
Pasadena at the
And
Rose Bowl.
M&T Bank Stadium is real nice too
Yeah.
for a stadium that's old by NFL standards now. It is really nice.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, again, you do the perfect job segueing because I have a few nice notes on there, and one of them is the fact that it's in Boston. It is in Boston not only for the what I have it here somewhere. Where are you? Where are my notes? Here we go. It's the celebrating the 250th anniversary, and you're gonna love this because you're a history guy. But 205th anniversary of the Boston Tea Party,
Okay.
and it's the 225th anniversary of the USS Constitution's first voyage. So yeah, I mean they timed it up perfectly with Boston. Robert Kraft finally got it. He's bid on it like I think 10 times and failed, so he finally got this one. I don't know how much he had to do with it or the fact that it just happened to be Kismet here, but
I'm surprised he failed, because, well, I guess Navy may not have anything to say about it, but Belichick's father was a Navy coach for a while.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
And Belichick kind of grew up in the Navy locker room.
yeah.
I mean, I guess that's why he is the way he is,
Yeah.
right? In a positive way.
He goes beyond
Yeah.
any rational explanation.
But yeah, some other quick notes here I have. It's also the 60th anniversary of the 1963 game, which of course is, again, you as a history teacher would know that it's the year that JFK was assassinated, and the game wasn't going to be played. However, Jackie Onassis, along with other Kennedy family members, called both service academies, called the NCAA, and no, let the game play. That's how he would want it.
He's a Navy guy.
Yeah, and it was probably the weirdest game ever because how it ended, and that is at the time, they didn't have like silent counts, they don't have like remotes and helmets or ability to really communicate. So Navy was up 21-7, Army storming back. They're down 21-15. About like 30 seconds to go, they get it onto Navy's 5-yard line, and right before they could get a snap off or like they're huddling real quick. The fans are coming onto the field to kind of see the game closer, so like they're on the outer edges of right outside the end zone and everything. The game ends with Army in the huddle because they can't hear the time and everything. So with a chance to win on like first and goal, they can't get a playoff because nothing going on.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that's my other fun note. Do you want to hit anything? This is mostly your thing, so I got some other notes. But if you want to talk about some stuff, then
No, honestly, it's one of those rivalries you can throw records out.
Yeah.
When I was a sophomore at the
Yeah.
academy, I think Army was 10-0 or 11-0, and we were 0-10 or 11, whichever the correspondent, and we ended up beating the undefeated Army and kept them out of a bowl game that year. So records go out the window, but I do expect obviously Navy to win.
yeah.
And I'm actually going to take the over. It is 27 and a half. It's supposed to be a nice day in Boston,
Okay.
so I'm taking the over on that one.
Okay.
What's the line of it?
So
3.
Army's giving 3, yeah.
Which I'm also taking the points just for insurance.
So to give you a little background on it before we get to picks, because you jumped the horn there. So Navy leads the all-time series 62, 54, and 7. The largest ever victory was in 1973. Navy won 51-0. The longest win streak was Navy at 14.
14 games in
In 1944 and 45, the game featured number 1 and 2 nationally ranked teams, the Army, Navy, respectively. And then last year was the first ever overtime game with Army winning 20-17 in double overtime, which coincidentally is the first time the over has hit in 15 years. And that's how you segue to picks there, big guy. We're going to start with you on this one. Picks. I know it's tough because we might all end up picking the same, but you got any college picks for this one? You want to go?
I'll stick with you guys. I'll go with Navy.
All right.
I'll go Navy, getting the points.
All right, Navy +3. I'm gonna go Navy money line. We already heard you say you're also gonna get the points, and then the under is at 27.5. So I don't want to sway you. So
What's the rushing? What's the over under in total rushing yards?
that I did not look up because a lot of sports books and I have some industry knowledge on this won't take prop bets for colleges.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, so
I'd take the way
That's
over
around
on that.
450.
Yeah, I think the way over between these two teams, right?
I think the total rushing yards between two teams. I did see one questionable sports book taking
There's no
for
question.
I think
Let
400.
me take your money.
So 405.5 I think was the total for rushing yards. I
I'll
could be
take
wrong
that.
on
That's
that.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
take
over
the,
405.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Navy's total rushing was I think I want to say 250 something. Again, I don't have it down in my notes, so I did this like when they first released the things, and
There's a guy in the Bronx that will take that.
yeah, I'm sure. But I'm taking the under at 27.5 because you're crazy. That's if you're gonna take the over.
I'm taking the over.
All right.
Navy's gonna light him up. I'm even gonna go so far as to say it's a 24-17 game.
All right. You want to give a prediction for that, or are you gonna watch the game with?
I will. I'll
All
watch.
right.
See
Well,
the
we-
game on.
We have what time is the game?
It's at 3:30. Yeah.
So we have a quad scrimmage in the morning, and
There you
then
go.
I'm doing a Santa train at night. So that's gonna fit perfectly.
Santa
into the-
what?
It's like we go to some farm and we're gonna go on a train with my
Oh,
daughter,
okay.
and
That's why he's letting all that great beard.
Yeah.
it was thicker last. I was really going through it last week. I'll go Navy. I'm gonna keep it 14-10.
Okay.
So
he's doing
all right,
well.
so he's helping me with the under here. I'm also gonna go Navy. I'm gonna say it is going to be a 10-7 slugfest.
Oof.
Yeah, 10-7. It's gonna be one of those games. You say oof, but that is Service Academy football, and
It
to me
is.
it's so entertaining.
But I just watched it with the Chargers Patriots. I don't need to see it.
The only difference is those are pros, which there you go, you learn segues. We're on the NFL now. And like I said, I did promise you, I know you're a big Giant fan.
I'm nervous.
You should be nervous here. We're both Cowboy fans. You've known that. Giants are having an awful season, and you're a father of two now. Granted, they're both girls, so they may not enjoy football as much as guys. They may actually love it more. You know, not to discriminate there, but I did want to give you something to give them some hope. I wanted to provide you with this right here. I don't know if it'll fit them, but it's a nice little Cowboys little onesie thing there.
I'll make sure
so.
to wipe her with it.
Yeah,
you
of
know?
course. So that way you have.
Wiper.
She could have some potential.
Which side?
That's actually both of us. That's from the podcast right there. Thanks for
Thanks.
coming on. Yeah, something kind of positive to give your child and hope to root for in the future, not doom and gloom Giants. So yeah, there you go, man.
Anytime you guys can win 3 Super Bowls in 30 years, like you guys. When was the last time you guys won a Super Bowl?
95.
That's irrelevant.
95?
That's irrelevant. I don't know
We're
where
in
we're going. Yeah, again, I've said on this podcast. There's pictures of me in a Troy Aikman onesie on someone's lap watching the game. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right.
So there is proof
I
of me
almost-
watching a Dallas Cowboy championship.
I almost dropped him. That was the year. that was the year.
Explains a lot.
That what's his name? The wide receiver chased down big fat.
Beebe.
Huh?
It was his
Yeah,
name. Beebe.
Don
Yes,
Beebe.
Beebe. Don
Beebe,
Beebe.
yep.
I wanted to say that, but it didn't sound right. I started
Yeah.
processing it. But
Leon
he
Lett.
Yep.
chased down Leon Lett, who was celebrating 10 yards early and knocked the ball out of his hand.
Yeah.
And I actually had the numbers, in the box pool,
Mhm.
that if Lett didn't score, I would have won. So I'm like screaming, "No, don't fall down, do something!" And here comes BB and saved the day, won me $500. I think I might have dropped him at that point. Like, "Whoa!"
That's all right. I got a big and hard head, so I'm sure that's the reason why. But so instead of going game by game analysis, I figured we could pick games, talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
So if you have picks, we're gonna let guests go first. Otherwise, if you want to kind of mull it over, we'll let the old guy go first, and then
Do you do lines or just straight up?
lines, everything, anything
Whatever
you
you
want.
like.
You want to throw props in there? I'll go with pros or whatever you want.
I'll go pros. I'll
Alright.
go with the Thursday night game because I think it's.
Go ahead, I'm gonna write them down. That's what I was gonna say. Sorry.
Because I think it's gonna set the game of football back 50 years. You got the Patriots 2-10, and then Mitch Trubisky.
Ugh.
He's coming in replacing my hometown guy Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Steelers. I think their defense is awesome.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be another one of those games where there's some stat where the Patriots, excuse me, are like the first team to
Help.
not give up more than
10
10 points
points
to
or less.
lose, right?
Yeah, they're
So
0 for their last 3 when giving up 10 points, less than 10 points or less.
So I think it's going to be like a 7-3 or 7-6 game. So I'm going to take the Steelers straight up. Is that
All right,
right?
money line, yeah, that's
Money
fine.
line.
Is it alright if I say ugh today?
Yeah, you can. And by the way, so to put that in perspective, NFL teams this season are 52-3 when holding their opponents to 10 or less points. Those 3, of course,
The
being the
Patriots.
Patriots, as we just
Of course,
mentioned.
of
So
course.
yeah, so Steelers money line versus Pats. That's not a bad one. So for a little inside knowledge, we're recording before Thursday because we want to make sure we can get Will on. So there you go. I was just
Okay.
making sure that
All
people
right.
didn't, of course he picked them. The thing
course.
was already
Why
resulted.
didn't
So
I?
yeah,
It's
no,
hard.
Steelers won already. No. We're all on the up and up. Integrity is the most important thing on this podcast. So, I'm kidding. That's not really it. But good. Go ahead. What else do you got?
Me?
Oh yeah, we do at least 3. I'm gonna
3?
probably
All right.
rattle off a ton today. So.
All right, I will take. Pains me to say this, but I'm going to take the Packers minus
Okay.
6.5 against the Giants. I think.
All right.
Wow.
I think our boy Tommy D is Cinderella's about to strike midnight on our guy. That Packers team has been awesome of late. Jordan Love has really come
Yeah.
into his own. I know that some people wanted to ride him out of town a little bit, but he's been since the Thanksgiving game. He's been awesome.
Yeah.
I love that, like the story of him just sitting, not
Mhm.
complaining, just understanding that was his role, and waiting for his turn, and he's killing it right now.
Right.
Thanks for
Plus-
pointing it out, by the way, because me having Jordan Love in my lineup in fantasy beat the previously undefeated Goon to my right
I love
this weekend.
I
So
love it.
Thanks for pointing
Anyway,
it out.
No worries.
so that's a good pick. Plus you picked the 2040 starter for the Jets there, so that's good. I think I'll just follow the same path. No, he has been amazing. The Packers obviously coming off a huge win against the Chiefs, which nobody saw coming. I certainly didn't see coming. With Taylor Swift in attendance too, so that really shocked the world. That's a good pick. I don't see anything wrong with it. Although I think is Tyrod Taylor back now?
Yeah, but they
But you're not
named
gonna-
DeVito the
Oh,
starter.
Yeah,
DeVito, they
yeah.
did name DeVito the
And
starter.
I'll
Okay.
give Tyrod again, another guy that just has been around the block. He said, like, I'm disappointed, but I'm going to support my team
Yeah.
no matter
He
what.
said the right things.
Yeah, it's a 13-year pro, and he's always been a classy guy, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So.
I'm just excited to see DeVito's dad in the stands again with the bracelet, the pinky ring. Like he is
Right out
typical
of
like
Staten
Northern
Island.
New Jersey.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. It brings a little intrigue to these games.
It does, yeah. Somebody's gonna get whacked at the end of the game if they lose. Like who knows? Like they drop a ball. So if I was a wide receiver, I'd be nervous. But
What
yeah,
else you
you
got?
want to go one more here? Or?
Yeah, I'll do it.
I don't wanna pressure
NFL
you
or is
guys
it
here.
NBA? Could it be any sport?
You want to do an NBA pick?
I'm gonna take the Knicks over the Celtics
Alright.
on Friday.
Oh,
Knicks
I'm
over the
gonna,
Celtics.
I'm gonna. I don't know what the line is. I don't know if the line's out yet, but I'll take the Knicks over the Celtics. If they're getting points, because that's the Celtics, I'll take all the points I can get.
Okay.
We'll let you throw an NBA in there. So we've been typically sticking the NFL.
I'll
just
do that. I didn't
No,
know the
we're
rules.
gonna do a special
So
pick.
he's saying Knicks plus whatever the points are.
Oh, you want the points?
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
God, give me the points.
Okay.
I don't want anything else.
You better hope it's
Um,
20.
yeah. So
I have blind faith in my guy
No.
Tom Thibodeau.
we just haven't gone really deep into NBA talk because, as you know, right now, just the NFL and football just dictate the market
Of
when
course,
it comes to
of
sports.
course.
That being said, it is one of my favorite times because you got the MLB hot stove going on. NBA is really coming to full steam, of course. Christmas games coming up and everything, which the NFL is trying to take over. They might. So watch out, NBA. But no, I'm fine with it. But I mean, you don't have to throw it on the NFL.
I
wanna
don't
pressure you,
want
man.
to. I don't want to upset you guys, but I'm
No.
taking the Eagles over the Cowboys.
Oh.
I knew that was going to be one of your
Thanks,
This
picks.
show's
thanks for
over.
listening. Appreciate it. Don't worry, we will not be back on.
Go
Just
Tom's
kidding.
River
All right.
East.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're taking Eagles with the points, or
Yeah, I'm gonna. They're Dallas is minus 3.5, so I'll take
Yeah.
the Eagles getting the points. I mean, listen, your boy, can he understand when not to step out of the bounds next time? As he was
Wow,
going in.
wow.
And I have him as my
you're talking about
fantasy
the MVP,
quarterback.
right? Well, you know you're talking about the MVP this year, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Not only is he going to win MVP, he's going to win this year, and they're going to win the Super Bowl. You talked about the Knicks being your top. Cowboys are my top.
Let me go look
so.
about what the Cowboys did against the 49ers. Hold on. How was that?
They did the
game?
same against
How'd
the
the Eagles
Eagles.
do?
Like, we're talking about-
49ers are
yeah.
so good.
Do you want to talk about how the Giants did against the Cowboys real quick? Or?
No, they stink.
Okay.
Giants, we're playing for the pick. We're playing for Caleb.
Hey, he's entitled to his pick.
No,
I
it is
respect
true.
that.
Do you want to go with your picks now? Or?
Sure, I'll make it quick because I know we want to get into the inside the coach's box. So
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to ask Will too. A ton of stuff.
So this is that weird week for me where everything's up in the air in the NFL. So I actually kind of shifted to over unders. So Lions Bears, I'm taking the over.
Yeah.
43. Colts Bengals, I'm taking the over at 44. Bills Chiefs, which is going to be a very interesting game. The over under is 48.5. I'm going to take the over on that one.
Okay.
And then the only one I'm taking, of course, is Dallas money line versus the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I do think, look, Cowboys are 13-0 in their last 13 games, so a 13-game winning streak in Dallas. We were at the Eagles Cowboys game in Philadelphia, where the Cowboys probably should have won. You're right. Dak stepped out of bounds. There was a non-pass interference call in the end zone on Schoonmaker, which was clear as day. There was just a lot of things, but the Cowboys didn't capitalize when they could have and still lost the game.
Yep.
I don't think you're going to have that problem in Dallas. I think they're hungrier than the Eagles are at this point. The Eagles are coming in a little banged up. With Jalen Hurts got a little nicked up against a ferocious Niners defense, which scares the ever living shit out of me. So like it's going to be a tough game, but I think the Cowboys pull it out. So I'm going Cowboys money line, and this is where I say I cheat a little bit, where I go with Lintley picks. I'm going CD anytime touchdown scorer, Ferguson anytime touchdown scorer to wrap up my Cowboys Eagles picks. I decided to go NFC North next, and the Lions are giving away 3.5. I think that's not enough against a Bears team that has been playing a little frisky lately, a little fun, with Justin Fields coming back. Their defense has been looking good. So I got to have faith in the Lions. I think they haven't been playing that well lately, and a divisional game that's got to fire them up. So I'm going there. Next, I'm going Seahawks plus 10.5 against the Niners. That's a lot for a division game. Granted, again, I just said the Niners scared the shit out of me, which their defense does. But it's a divisional game. You can't do it. Like you said, Cowboys, Navy, Army, Navy. Like you throw out the records. NFL is obviously a little different, but I still feel that there is like pride in division games. So throw it out.
I agree with all that. I just think Geno Smith's a little bit banged up. Like that arm's still bothering him.
Yeah.
And he's going to be running for his life in this game. So.
Seattle's offensive line has been up and down all season, and they've lost both tackles, and they came back. I know they're still banged up, but and it's in Santa Clara, right?
I believe so.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
I'll take San Francisco.
You want to put that on one of your picks?
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right. I'll put you there. You got Niners.
And just to
49ers,
say
Lions, 10.
for our head-to-head, I'll take that as well. Niners.
Oh wow, you can write your own then.
Niners.
I'm not gonna write everything. And then my last one was CMC anytime touchdown score because that guy just scores
That's my
touchdowns.
man.
So
Christian McCaffrey.
yeah,
He just finds the end zone, man.
yeah,
Incredible.
absolutely. You want to talk you want to talk about MLB hot stove or you want to?
I'll leave it to you guys. Listen, baseball for me
Let's go.
doesn't start until July 1st.
I know.
So
Let's
I
get
know.
inside that coach's box.
We will.
Let's
We
get inside
will.
the
I
coach's
was looking for any segue to talk about the Yankees because I was hoping he'd talk about Yamamoto. It's a Yamamoto season for the Yankees to
okay.
get both of them. So I did want to say one note about, and because we are basketball coaches here and just general sports, I don't know if you guys saw this in men's college basketball this week. Yale was beating Vermont 65-60 with seconds left on the clock. With 0.6 seconds, Vermont makes a layup. This ensuing inbounds, Vermont draws an offensive foul, so they get the ball back. On the ensuing inbound play, they get an N1-3, sink it, win the game 66-65 against Yale. Would you guys vomit as like head coaches if you're Yale? Like that has to be one of the worst things in the world. There's nothing you can do at that point.
No, I don't understand their philosophy. If you watch the kid over the ball, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know whether that was coach, he didn't know what to do, or go back and watch. I don't know if you've seen it. The kid over the ball goes and doubles, is the inbound. It's just, what are you doing? Like, it's just, that's the situation you saw at the end of our practices. We tried different situations. That, again, those guys make a lot more money, probably smarter than me, but I felt like a coaching practice.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm gonna prolong the inside of the coach's box a little bit because I want to end on it. I think it's a good one. So we're gonna open you up. It's interview coach time. You're our first guest. We want to ask you a few questions. So if you have any questions, fire away. I'm gonna start off here. How's life without Riley Dreyos? That's the first one. That's the number one. That's the player I alluded to earlier. She is one of the biggest players that I've ever seen in high school sports. So to lose her is, a big one.
Yeah, I think with Riley, you lose a lot. Obviously the points, the assists, the rebounds, like that's stuff that can be replaced. It's not gonna be easy, but it can be replaced, whether it's one kid, two kids, three kids share the load. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We have that type of team this year where I talked to him in the beginning of the season, not one person's gonna score, 19, 20 points a game for us to replace that, right? It's gonna be sharing the basketball, playing within our system that we play. The big thing we lose with her is just her leadership, right?
Mhm.
She wasn't, I wouldn't say she was necessarily the most vocal leader that we've ever had. She was more of an example, do things the right way, show up on time, take care of your body the right way,
Yep.
make sure every rep counts, that sort of stuff. And the kids looked up to her, right? You know,
Yep.
the younger kids wanted to be her best friend, wanted to be her buddy, wanted to be her. So I think that's the thing that we're navigating through. We have 2 captains this year, 2 of our seniors, they have had one of the most up and down careers that I've ever seen, and it's not their fault, you know, they're freshmen, they had COVID, you know, that season was ripped away from them essentially. We got shut down twice, we were 3-9, we played days when we didn't practice, like I remember we got back, we had 1 practice after being shut down for almost 3 weeks, had 1 practice and we played 3 games in 4 days, because I just want to get those seniors as many games as possible. And then you know, at one point we were 11-12 their sophomore year, and we ripped off these wins, won a sectional, and then we had probably one of the best seasons in our school history. So these 2 seniors have been through it, and they're navigating through the leadership void left behind by Riley. But I gotta tell you, so far they have been everything I've asked for. And the 2 seniors we're talking about, Conley Smolikoff and Antoinette Russo.
Yeah.
So that, I think, going back to your original question, is the #1 thing. And you guys have been through it,
Yeah.
losing that kid that is just like, we can replace the points, we can replace the scoring, but it's just that leadership. When things go wrong on the
Yeah.
court, they're the one that put the ball on their hip and say, all right, get here, get here, get here. And you know, it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle at first, but I think we have the right group of girls that can ride that wave and figure it out as the season goes along.
Yeah, those intangible qualities you mentioned, like I always say, I think I told you last year, like I know 2 players, Riley being one, that, and I think it's high praise, like Paige Beckers at UConn, I
Mhm.
think just gets it.
Mhm.
She's very cerebral in the way she trained, and obviously she's been unfortunate with injuries, but Riley to me is that same type, obviously not skill wise, because you know that Paige is obviously playing at UConn, no offense against Riley, who listens to the podcast. Thank you for listening.
She's playing a game right now.
I
She's
know,
playing a
I
game
know. I
right now.
Go
I
Rochester.
hope so. Well, I'm
Yeah.
actually gonna go see her January 6th.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Mhm.
But no, so she's just cerebral. She understands the game. She, like you said, she knows when to push, when to pull. She was an amazing person to coach last year,
Mhm.
and so yeah, I can imagine that all those little things are definitely hard to replace.
And you know, she's playing in the UAA, which I can't speak for all the conferences in Division III, but it is one of the best ones. I mean, it has the #1 team in the country, NYU. They have a stacked roster. I know Emory is very good. I believe Case Western's excellent, another school that's in there. But for her, and just watching both live and then, you know, through the video screen when I'm home, the way she kind of carries herself on the court, she doesn't look like a freshman. I mean, both body-wise, she, you know, really put the time in this summer, really hit the weights, running, jogging, training. She looks like a different player, but just the way she carries herself on the court, the way her teammates look to her, and just based on the first couple of games, the way the coach is treating her, the way the coach is giving her the ball as a freshman, said, "Go ahead, kid, figure it out." You know, so it just shows like what she brings to a program. It wasn't just here; it's to another great school, and I just think the sky's the limit for her, whether, you know, at Rochester and beyond.
No, she's a pros pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to coach against her for 3 out of her 4 years, and I think you hit it right on the head. And I even told her last year as a fan when I was, you know, I'm rocking your short stuff today, but when I was in the bleachers.
It's a good blue. It's a good color.
It is.
Yeah.
After one of the
In fact, wearing my
games,
stuff.
I complimented her on her leadership in the game, and to me, that was the fun part of coaching, or one of the more fun parts about it, is when you lose an element like that, you know, to graduation, what comes up behind it,
Yeah.
and how quickly can you get young ladies in particular to embrace that leadership role. You know, and it's great to hear that Antoinette and Conley are picking up the pieces.
Yeah, and it's not easy. I get it. You have to see these kids all day. You don't want to step on their toes. I understand that, but like a real teammate, a real friend, they might be upset with you. They might be angry with you for that moment, but as kids mature, they'll be like, you know, you're right. You know, I am screwing around, or I'm not doing the best, or that wasn't the best choice to make. And so I think it is tough, and it's just all reps, right, for these girls. Like I said to Conley, you're an amazing lacrosse player. She's going to go play Division I next year at Colgate. She'll most likely be the captain of our girls lacrosse team. And I said, this is just learning how to be a leader so that when you get to Colgate or you step on the lacrosse field in the spring, it's like, I've already done this. And Antoinette, who won't be going on to play in college, whatever field she chooses, she's going to be a rock star. She's going to be a leader. She actually was just named our national women's in sports person at our school,
Ooh,
and that's the one.
Well.
She get one person from each school from around the state gets that, and she's our representative. And I had nothing to do with it; it was all administration. So they see it. You know, other people see, and that that light that attracts people, and the two of them are like that.
She's another player that to me that was impressive in her own way. She has like the physicality to be a good player. She has the IQ to be a good player, but sometimes she kind of like, and it's some stuff I've talked to her about last year too, right? Like was afraid of her own shadow, kind of. Like, so how do you draw it out of her now this year without Riley being able to like, you know, I guess capitalize or like make her really come into her own or like try to heighten that. I don't know exactly the word I'm looking for here, but the potential is there. So how do you get that out of her?
You know, you saw it firsthand. We were playing Point Beach last year in the state semifinal, and we were up big at the end of the first quarter. It looked like we were going to cruise and that game was going to be over midway through the third. And you know, compliments to Jay down at Point Beach. Jay, he does a great job with his kids. We faced them yesterday. It went from a 17-6 game to now we're up by 5 or 6 at halftime to they take the lead. I think it was 32-30 or 31-30.
Yeah.
And it was like the wheels are falling off. And Antoinette, who I'm sure you've been through this, where you can name every player where you're like, this girl has never scored over 7 points a game, but against us, she had her best game. And there's two girls that come to mind that have done that to me in my career. And Antoinette is that product for Point Beach. She stepped up. I believe she had a career high of 18 points.
Yeah.
She looked like a different player. And we saw that a little bit this summer. I mean, we played in a very tough summer league. I think the toughest around with some of the best teams that the state of New Jersey has to play. Same thing in our fall league. We play some really tough teams, and so we saw that, and it's continuing. And just the little things she does at practice. You know, we call her kind of like our dirty work player, right?
Yeah.
She's got to do the dirty work. She's going to do things that nobody else sees except for real coaches, right?
Yeah.
You know, play the dead spot in the 2-3. No one wants to play the dead spot in the 2-3 because you don't get the ball that often, or you get the ball and you got to instantly look to kick out or kick to the middle. And she does it, and honestly, if we lose her, a lot is going to crumble on our team because she just does things that nobody else sees. Another thing that she does is, and again, no coach will realize it unless you actually study it, is as soon as a shot goes up offensively, she doesn't go to offensive rebound. She just gets back. And I can't tell you how many transition plays she stopped because she's back on defense. And that's just the role we need her to play. And it was just a conversation we had with her as a sophomore. Said, you're going to lose points over this. But she's like, you know what, whatever the team needs.
Yeah, that's a great attitude. I always called them my lunch bucket kids.
Blue
collar, hard working. Lindsay Cannon comes to mind right away. She would
She
just
was
do
excellent.
whatever she could in any way she could, including playing what we call the haze, but the dead spot
Yeah.
next to his zone.
Yeah, he's big on verbiage because I tried like the haze and dead spot were things that I had trouble with last year when
The
communicating.
kids looked at you funny, like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, no,
What's
he's dead
haze?
spot, yeah.
Are you a Bob Marley fan?
Yeah, right. No, she obviously to a lesser degree, but to still, I mean, one of the most important players from last year's team. You know, Alana, who, was a starter. She did a really good job, but maybe not a sung hero. By the way, real quick, it just hit me. Was that Point Beach game the game that Antoinette hit that like crazy spin through? Like she had very smooth play where she hit that three, right?
She hit like 4 or 5 threes that
But
game.
but you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like it was like a play or a skill set that like we knew she had. She just never displayed it, and then all of a sudden she just pulled it out, and it was just like bang. I'm like,
she has
damn.
talent. At some point, she decides to use them. And
Yeah.
she has carte blanche. We're a very open shooting team. Everybody has the green light right now.
Yeah.
Now, talk to me in about 2 weeks. Not everybody, but
I was on the other side of the floor during that game. It's funny to be amongst parents when the ebb and flow of a game happens and how much they love what's happening when you were winning big, and all of a sudden, it's like, like, guys, it's chill out. He's doing the right stuff.
we want them to listen, so don't call them out. But maybe after, tell them who they were. No, I'm kidding.
I've done RBC games too. I mean, I've had.
Oh, yeah.
When you replacing Joe, I'm like, are you serious? He's got like 600 wins. What are you talking about?
I talked
Mighty
about.
Joe, man.
You've heard me say, and I texted it to Riley after one of her games this year, and I said to my kids, it's just a roller coaster, right? The highs, the lows. It's just how you deal with that, right? You never get too high, And I've said to my kid, another one that I'm stealing it from a coach that I learned under is like, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are, right?
Yeah.
You're somewhere in the middle. And in that game, we weren't as good as we thought we were, and we definitely weren't as bad. And I'll give it to the kids. I mean, I know the score looked like we ended up beating them by like 15 or 20, but
Mhm.
that was a game for 3.5
Yeah, it was.
quarters. It
Yeah.
was a battle.
Yeah.
That's, like I said, testament to Jay. He does a great job.
Jay's been a great coach for a long, long time.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah,
but
very
yeah,
much
yeah.
so. And he's been great for the conference as well.
Mhm.
But it's those life lessons that you're talking about that we always try to push out to the girls too,
Mhm.
and I have for a long, long time, because going forward, basketball's going to get them to a spot somewhere in life.
Yeah.
But then it's going to end.
At some point.
So what do they take with them?
Mhm.
What qualities do they take with them? The leadership, the discipline, the structure, the willingness to dig in and fight from being down to getting to a positive situation. That now, that I know from being on the commercial side of things,
Mhm.
I look for people that have
Oh, yeah.
athletic experience, who've been a part of a team. Matter of fact, I interviewed a guy the other day who's a captain for his, was a captain for his college lacrosse team. I said, okay, that's a positive, So.
No, it's true. I mean, obviously, sports are I think a great building block for life lessons. So, which again brings me back to the question I was going for, and I only have a few more before we get to Inside the Coach Box. I don't know if you have any. I mean, I can keep on peppering them, but one of the people that we that isn't playing basketball anymore, but I think will take what she learned from basketball going forward. Alana Martin. She was a starter last year. So losing her again, I think, is huge because now it brings people off the bench. So what does that loss mean? Again, losing another senior leader, losing a starter, and then how thin does that make your bench? Especially with, and I hope I'm not breaking any news here, but with Angela on the IR, possibly with the hurt ankle.
It definitely hurts us, obviously. Being a small school, right? You coach at a small school. You're already working with a limited group that you have, right? You don't have the luxury of having 2,000, 3,000 kids, 45 kids at your tryouts, or 80 kids at your tryouts, whatever the case may be. But I heard some of the people I had 80 kids. I'm like, I had 19. But it just forces people to step up, right? And that's why yesterday, we did things a little bit different in our scrimmage, but I treated it more like a preseason game in the NFL, where I played my starters. We played 2 tri-scrimmage, so 2 25-minute blocks. I played my starters about 8 minutes both, and then I went to my younger kids very quickly, or kids with less experience, I should say, just to get them as many reps as possible. I'm probably going to continue that tomorrow a little bit, and then Saturday I'll play my kids a lot. But going back to your original question, losing any kid that had the impact that Alana had, whether it was, and she wasn't a scorer, I think her high game was probably 8 or 9 points.
Mm-hmm.
But again, very similar to the lunch pail kid, where she was an undersized big, but she didn't act like it. She went in there, she battled.
Set the screens hard.
She set the screens, she did the things that, again, you're not gonna get Shore Sports Network or NJ.com or APP are not gonna write about it. Sorry, it's a role you have to play. You're a role player. What do you do well?
Yeah.
And what can you do to help us win? And some kids don't like that. Some kids want to be the superstar. Some kids' parents want them to be the superstar, as you know.
Yeah.
So again, it's forcing kids that haven't gotten the experience in the past, whether it was they were on JV, whether they just weren't ready. It's getting them up to speed and hoping that they're going to be ready when it counts next Thursday. And Darren too. The other thing is, your season isn't written on December 14th. Your season isn't written on December 16th. The season's written in late February. So everything you do is all about that, and that's been our general focus over the last few years, is getting that roller coaster, the highs and lows, looking at what works, what doesn't work, tweaking here and there, and getting kids experience when we can, and hoping that on February 22nd, 23rd, we got our best group of kids ready to go, because they have what they've gained over the season.
Yeah.
All right. So
solid.
last question for me before we get to Inside the Coach's Box here. It's a bunch of it's kind of all time in one. You just mentioned it. You're not going to win the game on December 4th. Win the season on December 14th. So
Hoping to win the game.
Yeah, I meant the season. What's the toughest test on the schedule for you guys this year? What's the keys to a short three-peat, and why is it David Coyle? No, I'm kidding.
I think the toughest, to start in that question, toughest, in our division, we have a very well-coached, experienced team in Ocean Township. We split with them last year. The first game was an excellent game. Second game, they got us pretty good. They
Oh, yeah.
played really well, and it's not even like we played bad. They just played awesome, right? I'm gonna give them complete
Unstoppable
kudos.
that day.
Yeah, they hit shots and they play that way. They're better than probably all but one or two teams in the short conference. You know,
Yeah.
They
You
might
said
even
they're
be-
returning 5.
and they return all 5
They're
plus
starting
their
5,
plus
yeah.
their sixth woman off the bench. And
So no major changes for them.
no, and Mike has been through the ringer. Mike has gone through 3-win teams, 6-win teams, 8-win teams. He deserves all the credit because he's put that work in with these kids, and then those kids are going to practice, going to hoop group. They are gym rats to the fullest. So they're the toughest team. I mean, we play a Wildwood Catholic team, we play a Rumson team. We're in a few showcases. One down at Ranco because I don't really know who we're playing yet. Colts Neck, who has the old St. John Vianney girls coach, Nick Russo, who does an amazing job.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're at right now. I haven't looked into them yet, but they're going to be well coached, well prepared,
Shoot well,
yeah.
will shoot well. That guy doesn't win as many TOCs as he does without the work that he's put in. So I think we've done a really good job of spreading our non-division games around, playing some of those teams. But I would definitely say Ocean's number one, most likely. In terms of
That's only because I'm not coaching against them.
that's right. Listen, I know. I think we coached against each other 8 or 9 times, or 8 or 10 times, and I 0 for 10. We won't talk about that.
They were fun though.
They were.
I always liked when we had you on the schedule, not from the win-loss, but I knew no matter what, it was going to be a slugfest, it was going to be competitive. You always coached the girls really,
I
really
appreciate
well.
it.
And we were in similar positions in our division, trying to build something up
Yeah.
to compete with the SJVs, the St. Roses, the Manasquans, et cetera. So
It was.
they were fun games.
They were. I always said we were 0-10 before the ball was even tipped because we just played on the murderer's row.
Yeah.
But trying to win a three-peat is just staying healthy.
Yeah.
That's big for us. Sticking together and then winning those games, those 50-50 or 60-40, 70-30 games that maybe we weren't supposed to. That way we're getting that home court advantage like we did last year.
Yeah.
We won a few of those games that I don't know if we were the favorites going into that game. One comes to mind was Manchester. I know that their overall roster wasn't strong-ish, but they have the best player, in my opinion, in the short conference coming back. That girl, and the girl from Trinity is amazing too. That the point guard going to Harvard. She's amazing. So 1A, 1B, whoever you want. But that girl was just a beast.
Yeah.
And I remember after the game, I didn't know how many she had, and one of the short sports guys, Nick Lowe, goes, "I can't believe she had 47 points." I go, "She had 47 points."
Yeah.
They were the
And I
toughest
thought
47.
I thought we defended well. We had a freshman girl, Ava, who we mentioned before, was D'ing her up. We threw, literally it was a kitchen sink game. We threw 6, 7, 8 different defenses at them just to keep this girl, and she still had 47 points. And it wasn't easy, like you said.
No, this guy was like Steve Spagnuolo trying to draw blitzes against her, and it worked because she scored 47. Like she could have gone off for 60 against a lesser prepared team, but like it was the toughest 47 I ever saw in my life as coaching, and I was just like, it shocked all of us. Like the fact that she put up 47 was amazing.
I knew it was high. I didn't know it was that high.
No. Which was like 47 out of their like 50 something points total, right? Like she scored, I want to say 80-90% of their points.
Yeah, I think it was like a 67 to like 60 game, something like that. I'm not good at remembering the numbers. I remember the plays, I remember the situations, the numbers I always forget. But yeah, she's incredible, and that's why she's going to play at NC State next year. So
Well, it's not
John's
unlike
on
when
Brooks.
we played St. John Vianney that second time, and
Madison
you talked
St.
about
Rose,
I threw the triangle too at Maddie St. Rose and Katie Hill, and it was working. We were down 5 at halftime, and it was
that's
great.
a
Well,
win.
you got-
It was awesome, and we were within 13 by the end of the third quarter, so we were right there. But at the end of the game, they ended up pulling away because they had the
course.
horses in the
Of
stable.
course.
But I remember turning to him and saying, "Maddie St. Rose had 30 points,"
Yeah.
and then I said, "That was a quiet 30," as if there is such a thing.
Yeah, right.
But 47, and you guys, like Nick said, she probably could have had 60 against a lesser prepared team.
Oh,
so.
it was a battle. It was one of the more fun games that we were
Yeah.
going because it was modern basketball. It was get up and down, and it wasn't like nobody was playing defense.
No.
Both sides were playing
Yeah.
defense. It's just Conley, I think, opened up the game with 3 threes from the
Yeah.
corner.
Drained.
Riley ended up with 30, and Reese ended up with 25, or one or the other.
That's the answer you need.
It was 30 for Riley because that was like her resurgence back to score because she was kind of like not struggling for Riley as struggling for different players. That was like she was kind of like struggling a little bit to get to where she was in scoring from the previous season. And that game, I think, between that game and the Ocean game, it kind of just opened her up.
She finished that Ocean game very strong the first time
Yeah.
around. Last 5-6 minutes she took over. She was an alpha. You know,
Yeah.
and
You could see
That's what
that
they do.
from a fan perspective. You could see she said, "All right, I've had enough." And it was cool to watch. It
Yeah.
really was. And then going back to your leadership comment about her, she was just willing to take that on her
Mhm.
shoulders for sure.
Yeah, but Will just stalled out for that game, so that definitely count. It just some people will say that. Do you have any other questions for him before we get to inside the coach's box?
No, I'll save mine for the inside the coach's box. I mean,
Inside the coach's box is one segment, so ask your questions now. Yeah,
no,
it's a
I mean the
dictation from your
scenarios
boss,
we were
man.
talking about. But
Yeah.
I've already said it. I mean, I always appreciated the challenge of coaching against you. I knew your teams were going to be very well prepared.
thank you.
I,
Same on the internet.
Well, thanks, but talent-wise,
Should I
you were
leave?
like when I was at Modern Day, where you didn't always have the great. You may have had two
Yeah.
true basketball players, and then you're trying to fill spot with soccer players and field hockey. And I know field hockey was always hard to get players from this
Yeah,
school in.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know,
23 state
no matter
champions.
what the personnel were, you were getting 100% of the time,
Appreciate
and
that.
it was hard. I mean, the last time I think I coached here against you guys, I just told my team Riley's not going to get points. And we did a great job against her, but then Reese stepped up and hit like 17
Yeah,
points,
she
which
was
her
a
dad
freshman.
reminds me every
Yeah,
time
of
he sees
course,
me.
yeah. He likes to say that every
Yeah.
once in a while.
But
so,
it was always a pleasure coaching. you.
Appreciate
So
that.
not a question, just a statement.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to leave? That was gushy, man.
Yeah.
That was gushy.
I like
I like the guy too, but damn, no, I'm kidding. Before we get into this, I want to thank you again for coming on.
No, I appreciate it. It was awesome.
It's been fantastic. I dare say I'd love to have you on again.
Whenever.
Maybe towards the end of the season when your schedule opens up a little bit more. But you're gonna be the first to try this new segment out. It's called, like I said, Inside the Coach's Box. That's right. On Outside the Coach's Box, we're gonna put you back in
Okay.
to a scenario that's actually happened in the world of sports.
Okay.
It's gonna be football. It's not gonna be basketball this
Okay.
time, though. All right. So I'm gonna give you a scenario. You're gonna tell me what you want to do here.
Okay.
All right. So it's the fourth quarter, 4th and goal from the 8-yard line. About 2 minutes left in the game, and you're down 8. You have all 3 timeouts, and we'll say the greatest of all time quarterback is across the way from you, right? So your opponent has the greatest of all time. Do you go for a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, or do you kick the field goal?
You go for it.
Yeah.
Am I on the road?
So it's a playoff game. Sorry, I
Playoff
didn't mention it.
game,
It's
yeah.
a conference championship game. It's the right to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going for
Yeah.
it. If I have, I won't. First of all, I would think that my defense would want me to go for it,
Yeah.
right? My defense would want to say, "We got this. If you don't get it, we have your back."
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going for it. I don't like the punt. I don't like the kick.
Alright.
If I could, I'd get rid of all kickers and punters and just go for it.
Does it change the fact that you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback too? I just want to throw that out. You go with
I'll
that?
right now with his fake ACL.
No, no.
or,
We'll say
whatever,
that-
Achilles,
yeah.
whatever, yeah.
We'll say that he was on the Packers at this time, so the Packers,
No, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
100%. I'm aggressive. You know that. I believe in the analytics. The
No,
analytics,
that's the right answer.
the analytics
Yeah.
would say to go.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's the right answer. Yeah, that's it. So to give you hindsight, that was the NFC Championship game between the Packers and Bucks a few years ago.
Oh, and they
where
kicked
he
the
kicked
field goal,
and
right?
missed.
And he- yeah. No, you
So,
don't do that.
the
You
Matt
go
Ford
for
thing,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that question because another podcast asked that question to all like the football coaches they get on. So I was like, I'm gonna steal that one for the first Inside the Coaches
Okay.
box. So yeah,
Hopefully.
way to answer it. There you go. So
If I have a quarter, I don't care if I have Aaron Rodgers or who's the guy that just got released from the Jets?
Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle.
Yeah,
I'm
Tim
going
Boyle.
for it. Let's go.
Yeah, in favor of Ripien, by the way, or right
Yeah,
in,
right.
whatever. But they're gonna start Zach Wilson. So yeah.
And he's taking it. He is going to start.
All right.
So yeah, no, it was great having you on. Thanks
Oh, can
again.
I ask mine? I had one.
You had a question. Oh, you have one.
I have
thought
a
we were still on-
scenario.
No, go ahead.
Alright.
Yeah, throw him a scenario. I
I'm
did
gonna
not
bring
know
it
that's how
back
we're
onto
doing
the
it.
basketball.
Okay,
Okay.
good. I'm more
There we go.
prepared for that. Football.
So
Yeah.
you're in a state game.
Okay.
You're the away team.
Oh,
You're down 12 in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
You start pressing. You get all the way back to within 1. Sideline out of bounds play works perfectly. You score a layup to go up 1. There are now 10 seconds left in the game. Now the coach calls a timeout. They have to inbound full court. Do you, the team that came back and took the lead, now up 1, continue to press? What are your options? What do you do from that point?
So it's so funny. This scenario has haunted me since last year a little bit. We were in a similar situation. Not that we were down, we were up, and we were playing Monmouth Regional last year at home. And I still kick myself because in a similar situation, we were winning, up one, it was a half court. We had gone to our white defense, which is our 1-3-1,
Yeah.
and I called it off. We went 3-2, and they scored, they won the game. I think we had a
That's
shot at
great.
the end, they did a 3, we had a chance at the end to maybe tie it, and I will not take my foot off the pedal anymore, I'm pressing, you know, I took the game out of my kids' hands, I felt, and, you know, that's when you trust your kids. I think you turn to your captain and say, what do you wanna do? And I feel like all the kids will say, let's keep pressing.
Yeah.
But I think if you take that foot off the pedal a little bit, that sends a message to your team that maybe you don't
Yeah.
believe in them anymore, or maybe, and just say to them, this is the best option that we have, this is what brought us here, we're gonna dance with premise.
Yeah.
So, what do you do?
I did it.
Okay.
That was me against Jackson Memorial, Rachel Goodale,
Oh, she's a
and
good
they
coach.
were the favorite, and they were kicking our butts, and they had, I forget the girl's name, was just a.
Who was doing the scoreboard in this game?
Oh,
They
man,
were-
don't
was that
even-
their
Okay,
job?
alright.
Yeah,
But,
we got screwed hard that game.
We came back all the way from like 12 in the fourth quarter. We take the lead. Lauren Florio hits she was a bowl in the China shop.
Of course she does.
Hits a layup to put us up.
After how
She
many
calls a
attempts, though?
timeout, and we've been running our 2-2-1, which we did all the time. Did it well.
I remember, you guys were awesome at it.
And I was like, "Fuck it, we're doing this."
Yeah.
To your point, I'm keeping the pressure on because they haven't been doing a great job with it. And the inbounder, she almost did like a pump fake, which caused the backside of my defense to rotate to the ball side. She lobbed it over the top to one who was streaking down the court, and so the weak side never rotated back like they're supposed to, and we gave up the winning layup.
Oof.
And I mean, I was kicking myself for keeping the press on. I should have done something a little different, or maybe
Yeah,
maybe
you change it
three-quarter
up.
press
Yeah,
in.
yeah, you bring, I
And
can see
I'm
that.
the only thing I could say going to the locker room with a bunch of crushed young teenage girls was girls that one's on coach, you know.
I think like if you're gonna start one, I think you just keep like you said, maybe you adjust it. Like maybe I probably would adjust it in that situation. Like we have this white, maybe we're trapping the second pass of the third part. I think I don't know, it brought you there. Why not? Just go for
I
it.
agree, but listen, that's part of the beauty of the game is
Yeah.
the lessons learned, and what do you take with you down the road, you know? So,
Yeah, I think in coaching too, it's like I said this to him in the past. Like, it's a 70-30 rule or the 80-20 rule. Like 70% of the stuff that we're saying, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Box out, rebound.
Yeah.
It's the 30% where we're kind of that different. And there's no right or wrong, you know, in basketball. It's just there's no fact, right? It's just opinion. It's philosophy. So I don't know. I think
Yeah,
you did
that's
the right
behind
thing.
Hayes, whatever it is how you decide, you know, I'm just,
Yeah.
no, okay, you good now?
I'm good now.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing me the
I
opportunity to
didn't-
talk to our guest.
I didn't-
I'm
what-
kidding.
I didn't think we were-
I'm kidding.
I didn't think we were doing two, like, when I talked to you, it was gonna be one scenario where you decided to go with two,
Yeah.
so.
I think it's good though. I
I
think you
think
do
it-
one in their field and one not in their field.
I like
That's
it, yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
I have to give you guys some feedback. Right?
No, it's all right,
We
we're all
appreciate it.
open to
book,
feedback.
baby. Open book.
Like I said, we had a record 50 listeners to our last podcast. It's your job now to promote, because we also promote our social medias and stuff.
Okay.
And I'm just going to end, as always, on this day in 1966, the Yankees trade legendary Roger Maris to the Cardinals for Charlie Smith. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe against all platforms, like the subscribe button right there.
Go Navy, beat Army.
Hell yeah.
Go Navy. Go Navy.
Right. Oh boy, well.
Thank you, sir.
Right, thank
Appreciate
you so
it.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got to wrap up.
Did we
the,
get you out in time? You got home